Outlander fans, we are back for season 5. The Droughtlander is over. Rejoice, rejoice, one and all. We are back, and your favourite show is back on Stars and whatever else it airs on in other countries. I'm Rob Licuria, senior editor here at Gold Derby, and I'm joined by my wife, Paula Sullivan-Licuria. That's what we're calling her these days. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's exciting.
It is exciting. So do you want to just let everybody know what you've been doing over the last few weeks to prepare for this monumental occasion?
Okay, so I have read the book ages ago, way back when straight after first season, I read every book back to back, and because I loved it that much. And I don't really remember much from The Fiery Cross, which is what this season is based on. So I actually went out and I forgot how actually big this book is. So I'm trying to get through this while we go through the season together, so I am more refreshed about what happens. So wish me luck.
Oh my God, better you than me. So look, everyone, you've just seen the season premiere of season 5, The Fiery Cross. Coincidentally, that's what it's called, based on the 5th novel in the Diana Gabaldon series. And this episode is written by Matthew B. Roberts and directed by Stephen Wolfenden. And just as a primer, this is what season 5 is generally going to be about, according to the network. So season 5 finds the Frasers fighting for their family and the home they have forged on Fraser's Ridge. Jamie must find a way to defend all that he has created in America and protect those who look to him for leadership, while hiding his personal relationship with Murta, the man who Governor William Tryon has ordered him to hunt down and kill. With her family finally together, Claire Fraser must use her modern knowledge and foresight to prevent them from being ripped apart once again. Meanwhile, Brianna Fraser and Roger Mackenzie work to raise their son, Jemmy Mackenzie, under the looming spectre of Stephen Bonnet. That's a really, really good overview of what we're going to look forward to for the season. And the key art for this season has Jamie with his huge fiery torch, with Claire Fraser holding him, and it says, "Stand for all." It's going to be a defiant, transformational season for the show. I think we're moving now into the next phase, I think, of what this show is going to be about.
Yes. As it stands at the moment, this season has shown we've sort of moved away from the whole time traveling aspect of it, which I'm sure some of us have fallen in love with. We are now moving into the more tenuous sort of start of the Americas, with all these little battles that are coming up in the lead up to the big one. And so we see it. We see the Frasers from a completely different perspective. So we're not talking about time travel. We're talking about how can they try and not change history, but sort of avoid all the bad things that could happen to them in history. And I could sit here for hours and go on about it, but you lead the way. Well,
yeah, the American Revolution is looming in the distance.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Claire knows what's coming. It's a new world and a new settlement with all of these people from Scotland and other parts of the old world trying to establish a new life. But it's a struggle and a challenge, and there's now conflict, which is good for drama, I say.
Yeah.
So let's talk about episode 1. The description of that episode is: following celebrations in honour of Brianna and Roger's wedding, Governor Tryon, I don't even know how to say his name, reminds Jamie of his obligation to hunt down and kill Murta Fitzgibbons. He also expects Jamie to raise a militia to quell the regulators if necessary. Brianna, meanwhile, is reminded of her past trauma when she inadvertently hears some devastating news. So that's what this episode's about. Before we go even into the episode, let's talk about the opening credits, because we always
Please. We need to talk about this.
Beautiful title cards, not sold on the music. Thoughts?
Yeah, I actually agree with you on this one. I love the way they're shot. I like how Sam and Katrina seem to have their own personal title card this season. So when their names come up, you actually see a picture of them and you know that it's them. And beautifully shot from the back. And then it is interspersed with the women doing the dancing in the stones at Craig Nadoon. But beautifully shot. I love them. But I understand why they changed the music. They've changed the music every season to represent where they currently are. And so obviously this music is representative of the Americas, and I find it very choral. So I find it very church, like what I would expect to hear when I go to church. I like it. I don't love it as much as the other seasons, but that's what they've chosen to go with. So I still love the titles.
Yeah, I mean, they change them every season to fit what the season's going to be about. Obviously, the original is what everybody loves the most. It's so it's more, it's kind of more what's the word? It's like it's more simple, and the French one was great as well. Then they did the Jamaican one, which wasn't great as far as I'm concerned. And then so like there was a whole bunch of different ways in which they've done the titles, but this one is choral, definitely. It's beautifully done, though. It fits in a lot with what I would say the motifs and key art for this particular season. We received a package from Stars not long ago with some really lovely kind of paper and I think it was a candle or something, or a pen or something. Yeah, that stuff. Everything's very autumnal and wilted and weathered and comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're going for.
Yes. Yeah, they were. So, and like, so these are just one of the greeting cards we got. I picked this one because it's about a new home. May your new home be filled with laughter and love, which I think is very representative. And this was the first one on the stack, which I think is very representative of what this season is going to be about. Because for Jamie, not only is his family, you know, the people who have his name, Claire, Brianna, and now Roger, and Fergus and Marcelly and all that, but it's also the men of the families who live on Fraser's Ridge. To Jamie, they're his family because he has to protect them as well. So that's what, to me, sort of sums up this season. But so, yeah, very autumnal, very family, very warm. Like most of the shots, I don't know if you noticed, the indoor shots are very warm. There's always a fire in the background. Even outside, there's always a fire. And I was actually thinking the other day, a lot of the scenes seem very cold because they're very rugged up. And then you've got these beautiful fires which denote warmth, and then they've got the whiskey and they're bonding over drinks and everything like that. So very family orientated.
Yeah, they're settling. It's the settling of these people, which is what this season is about, or a lot of it is about. Let's talk about a couple of actual highlights of the episode. It starts with a Murta flashback, and I got to say, Duncan LaPlante, he's quite a good-looking man as a young man, don't you think?
Yeah, he's not too bad. I can see the appeal there, and that was actually a really heartwarming scene. And then you've got a young Jamie Fraser, listening to Murta's oath. Now, don't forget, Murta was meant to die at Culloden, so this is a massive deviation from the books. Murta doesn't appear in this book, so this is a whole new story arc, and I actually quite like it. But I also like how the fact that the TV show can deviate from the books. I find it refreshing would be a good word for it. So, I love that flashback, and I loved how you saw the passion that Murta had for his family, which he instilled into a young Jamie, which is the whole point of what we see him for the whole season, and especially in episode 1. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's really important. The regulator storyline could probably be quite maybe boring to some people, but adding the extra element of Murta and his relationship with Jamie, and now Jamie's task to have to hunt him down and kill him adds another dimension to it. I understand why the show's creators and writers have done that. I would love to get the opportunity, hopefully I will in any season, to talk to some of the people from the show to talk about why they decided to go down that particular avenue and bring a more personal touch to that part of the story and bring Murta in, given that he was supposed to die at Culloden. So I find all that really interesting.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. I think probably the highlight of the episode, we really do need to talk about the wedding. It was beautifully done. I'll just go out for a wander and you just spend the next
I'll just talk about
it. Okay? All right, bye.
Okay, bye. Look, the wedding, oh my goodness. I've been trying to flick through the book to try and find it. I've probably skipped over it because I was trying to do it so quickly this morning. But let's just talk about the way it was depicted on the show. I am sure people are going to comment and remind me on the video what actually happened in the book. If you could point me to the page, that would be great. And I'll talk about it in the next episode or the next video if I can. But the costume, the wedding dress, it was beautiful. It was gorgeous. And I love the scene where Claire is like, doing the finishing touches to the dress. And then, she goes, I wish it was silk. And it's I think she said St. Andrews. I could be wrong. But, it was just a lovely, touching mother and daughter moment. It was really sweet. Again, it was all about family. And then you get Jamie coming in with, the little poem, something new, something old, something borrowed, something blue, and a penny for your shoe, which I thought was really sweet. It was a nice bonding father-daughter moment because don't forget, Jamie's missed out on nearly everything in Brianna's life, and he finally gets to walk her down the aisle, do like the ultimate father thing for his daughter that he missed out on. So yes, for the romantics out there, they're going to absolutely love this scene. I think I sat there with a grin on my face through the whole thing. So yeah,
it's beautifully done.
Beautiful. And beautifully shot.
Beautifully shot, beautifully produced. Performances are top notch. We knew it was coming. It wasn't a surprise, but it was really beautifully done at the big house. It brings the scene prior to where Jamie is picking out something blue and borrowed and all that. Reminds me that this is a huge talking point for Outlander. We've brought this up before, but I just want to revisit it as a theme because Jamie is a sensitive, caring, thoughtful man. He, despite his background, despite that he's a Highlander from God knows when men didn't think that way, and he has been changed by his interactions with Claire, a modern woman, and he is the way that he looks at his daughter, who's about to be married, like she's a princess, is a feeling that most fathers in that particular situation probably feel. It's a very special thing, as you mentioned, for a father and daughter to experience. But it reminds me that this show, whether you love it or hate it, and whatever you think about it, it certainly is different. It is definitely a show through a woman's lens. And it's written and directed on many occasions by men. It's produced by Ronald D. Moore, one of the greatest TV producers of all time, and still it's told through the prism of what a woman feels, and that's why it's so beloved and popular with women across the world. You can see it on Twitter and on chat rooms. Most of the people talking about Outlander are women, and it just doesn't surprise me because to see someone like Jamie, who is a strapping young guy, or not so young anymore, and he is so loving and caring and thoughtful for the women in his life, that really rung true during the wedding sequence. And I really appreciate that about the show. What are your thoughts about Jamie and how he is a modern man in a non-modern setting?
Oh, look, I recently joined a Facebook Outlander appreciation group, and it is like they have discussions like this like once a day, and they all say something very similar, that Jamie can be, and I think that's why Jamie has such an appeal to so many women, you know, he's got the chivalry of the yesteryear, but he is still so sensitive. And Jamie is a character, and Sam Heughan portrays it beautifully and is able to marry the two so well together in one character. It's like the yesteryear and then the modern year, and marry it so beautifully together, and to create such a complex character who is, you know, just so lovable at his core. You can't help but admire Jamie for what he stands for and what he does. So, yeah, I agree. It was a beautiful scene, and Sam Heughan portraying Jamie does that very well.
Yeah, credit goes to Diana Gabaldon for creating the character and to the writers.
Definitely.
But bottom line, the casting of Sam Heughan could have gone awry had it been someone else. Casting him, the perfect person to play Jamie Fraser. And Sam Heughan, I've said this time and time again, that guy does not get enough credit.
No, he doesn't.
He's outstanding in this role. This will be the role of his lifetime.
It will.
He's that good.
I think I agree. And as much as I love Katrina Balfe and the great job she does,
she's incredible.
She's amazing. Like, you know, she's playing the opposite of what Jamie is. She's a modern woman in an era where women don't do what she does. And she finds it difficult to try and find her way in this world. And Katrina does a great job of that. But sometimes we have seen it before, but not so much in the male perspective, being able to do both. I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's just how I feel. And because I just think Sam Heughan does a beautiful job at it.
Yeah. Well, the only other thing I wanted to talk about before we finish up is obviously Bonnet is back. And I'm looking forward to...
Oh, he's not dead.
He ain't dead. That guy ain't dead. He is back. And Ed Spillers is a really good villain for the season. Oh. It's Jack Black 2.0 as far as I'm concerned, and I'm good with that.
No, really? You think 2.0? I don't know. I think, look, from what I remember of Bonnet, there's still some evil under his hat, but I don't think he would be anywhere near the evil villain as Jack Black. I actually think Bonnet might have a slight conscience. I know, shock. I'm sure that's going to get some comments, but I don't think. Look, because Tobias Menzies did such a great job of doing Frank and Jack Black, I could not dislike a character more than Jack Black. Sure, Bonnet makes my skin crawl, but I actually really hated Jack Black, which means Tobias Menzies did a great job. But no, Ed Spillers is great. He makes my skin crawl every time he comes on the screen. He's just so that confident, kind of smarmy. Yeah. But yeah, no, he's a good villain for this season. Let's bring it on.
Bring it on. And speaking of bringing it on, everybody, please make sure you stick with Gold Derby. We have so much Outlander coverage coming your way. Your head will spin. We've got galleries, we've got recaps, we've got articles, because you know why? We really love this show. And we'll be back next week to talk about episode 2 of season 5. But in the meantime, please leave all of your comments down below. Click subscribe so you can watch all of our amazing videos about Outlander and everything else we do at Gold Derby, because quite frankly, we are the best website on the internet. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Thanks everybody for joining us, and see you soon.